paper packet, they're on the agenda first. Packet that was mailed out, they're not on the agenda.
Right.
Got it.
That's okay, because I had enough to add it.
Yeah, but they're on it.
So,
Oh,
you say, oh, that's different from the one. Oh, okay, so it is, I don't have to,
no,
thank you.
yeah.
My email didn't have, so I was just gonna add it, but that one does. Thank you. We're live. Okay, we're not starting yet, but we are live, how about that? I'm gonna put this over here. Did you get your?
I'm not.
Do we have any?
Yeah.
You want it? This is, and this is, so good. After that, we should be fine, alright. Okay, here we roll. And the time is 6:32. With us this evening is Gavin Keel, Craig Schulte, Ben Peters, Bill Lovis, myself, Michael Berry, Mike Roth, and Kim Van Beck. And that's it, right? Online too? Yeah, okay, very good. Is anyone here this evening for open forum, which would mean people who are not already on the agenda?
To be there.
Okay. That, we'll move on from open forum. Next up, the consent agenda. Would anyone like to make any changes, amendments to the consent agenda and or make a motion to approve? I would like to call everyone's attention, however, to the administration hire. I hope everyone saw that and looked at that. If not, please do. I think this is rather important in a very great and positive way.
I would make that a motion to approve the agenda with the highlights.
I'll second that motion.
Alright, so, a very, not here yet, but welcome to Madam Whalen as the management assistant starting July 13th. Alright, second on that?
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor of the agenda as is?
Aye.
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 Thank you very much. We will move on to new business. This is a bit of a special treat for us this evening as part of the Coast Guard. We have Mr. Bob Biro here with his wife Mickey. If you guys want to come up and sit closer to the mics right there. Bob has a gift for us. And I'll let you, Bob, give us just a little brief summary of how your relationship to Grand Marais, which isn't all that far in the past.
Well, I transferred here from Duluth in the fall of 1971, and we had one child, and we lived on the second floor of the Coast Guard station. I was the engineer, and there were 5 or 6 other coasties here, and we had a 36-foot lifeboat, and it was a good life. And the Coast Guard decided to close the station. It was announced, I think, in March or April of 73. They were going to close the station, take the boat away, and the station's disestablished. And I happened to be the officer in charge at that time. So I was the last one to leave. The crew from Duluth was boarding up the station. And as I was walking around, one of my final times, I looked at the bell, which was hanging on the front porch, and I thought, if I don't, somebody else will. So I became this self-appointed custodian of the bell for the next 50 years. It traveled around the United States with us. It stayed about 25 years at family property on Lake Vermilion, and came back to Michigan, which is where I reside now. And I know Mickey and I just had a wonderful time in Grand Marais. Our oldest daughter was born at Cook County Community Hospital in '73. If you look back in the voting records, in 1976, I was stationed in Spain, but I was voting in Minnesota. And there was a mayoral election that year, and I voted for Dwight Smith as a write-in candidate. And we had dinner with Dwight's daughter, Kristen, last night, and she said, oh yeah, that topic comes up at our family every once in a while, how Dad got almost elected as mayor of the city of Grand Marais. And as I aged, I was wondering, what am I gonna do with this bell? Should I leave it to my kids to decide what to do with it? But I had followed City of Grand Marais activities on Facebook and read WTIP's news, and I saw that there was a chance that the City of Grand Marais might get the old Coast Guard station. So I'm kind of thinking, okay, yep, I could give it to the Historical Society, which would be appropriate. City of Grand Haven, and then there was the announcement of the rescue unit at Grand Portage, and I thought, oh, maybe there's a fit there. But by that time I had talked with Tracy, and she welcomed me and said, yeah, we can take the bell. So we set up a date. Oh, the date was contingent when I could get reservations at the campground. And things kind of worked out from there. We arrived yesterday. The bracket for the bell, I inverted it for transportation purposes. This end is supposed to be facing up. Simple solution to it. But on the inside, at the bottom, there's a foundry mark, and it was made by the American, what was it? Oh. Maybe it was the Akron Brass Company, Akron Brass and Aluminum Company from Cincinnati, Ohio in the early 1930s. And it's a 10-inch bell or a 10-inch throat on it. And that's about all I know, but I went to the current website for the company, and I saw a link, I didn't follow it, that said, want more history on your bell? Click here. And we were in the process of leaving our house in Michigan and coming up here. So I didn't do that. I'll let somebody from the City of Grand Marais do that. But I certainly hope this finds a nice place at the Coast Guard station. We absolutely loved it there. I think two of our favorite things from living there were the sunsets behind the Sawtooth Mountains. Just incredible from there. And our living room and bedroom window faced to the west, and it was just gorgeous. And the other thing I remember is being able to see Rock of Ages Lighthouse from our kitchen window at night with the light flashing. It wouldn't happen often, but I'd say it happened maybe 5 or 6 times while we were there. But it was just, we were there on the night the Edmund Fitzgerald sank. The lake was as calm as it is today the next morning after she went down. So we've got a lot of good memories here. And I was surprised at how many people kind of remember me. And Mickey, I can't forget. Mickey worked at the nursing home, and as she was in process of delivering our daughter, there was a mix-up in with administration of the drug to induce labor.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, I know. So she had to stay an extra.
Go on.
She had to stay an extra night, and I got there in the morning, and she's manning the phones at the nurses' station in the hospital. In the nursing home. Okay, you didn't hear that. I'm sorry. I had to ring the bell. Yeah. And here's the bell. I can die with a clear conscience.
Well, come on, Bob, you come over here, all of us, we need a photo. So,
I'm happy to do this.
you got a good zoomer on that one, Mike?
Sure do.
So
Want me
we're
to do
not
one? I
looking
can do
at
one too.
people's feet or whatever we do.
Because I know this would have gone had I not rescued it.
We're going, we're pressing go, so
Yeah.
smile nice.
Alright,
Thank you so
Here,
very
Tracy,
much.
you hold it.
Okay. Alright, here we
I
go.
was expecting you to go. Thank you much.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Good luck with it. And
Have a really
I hope the station, something real good comes of the station, because it's an incredible.
We
Oh,
hope so,
one
too.
other thing I forgot to tell you, another story. When the
Just
station
wait,
closed, the crew left, and there were pictures and miscellaneous sundry items left behind, and there was one beautiful painting that a crew member had gotten from somebody on Artist's Point. And it's traveled with us for these 50 years
It's in my living room.
in our living room, and we have gotten so many questions, where did that painting come from? And we can't recognize the artist's signature on it or anything, but it's a beautiful painting from Artist's Point.
Well, Ruth, yes, the arts colony,
Oh, yes, yes.
Even the
Well, Ruth is
artist.
their
Yeah.
vibrant director,
Oh.
so you and
I
Ruth
tried
have a little
looking around.
conversation, maybe
Okay.
she can help you identify.
Yeah.
Well, or Leslie, it's not Dorothy. Is it?
I don't know, Mickey, do you remember the signature on it? I don't think.
No, I was just saying that,
Some of the children of some of the,
I tried
here.
looking it up a long
Okay.
time ago, but I couldn't find any trail. I'll let you know.
Yeah, we took to our colony.
Must not have been that good, it was given away to a co-state.
there you go, some
Would you
nice
like a
grade
picture
from
of
the
it
high
too?
school.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, this was really fun, what a treat.
Yes, I will. Okay.
Alright. Well, speaking of art, hey Ruth,
Hi.
did we? Okay,
Do you need me to sit?
well, you can, just in case, I guess, in case people have comments or questions. This is a nice courtesy to let us know what's up with art festival layout. Cause most of your activity is on Wisconsin Street, which is actually a county permit from that angle, right?
Right, they do have some closures on Second Avenue West, and of course, we're gonna help out with all the barricades, because we do that. But yeah, it's mostly a courtesy, just to make sure everybody knows what's going on, give them a chance to answer any questions.
And this is last year's layout, right?
The
No,
first
it
one is
isn't.
last year's layout, the second one is the changed layout.
Right.
Oh, this truly is a different package. My picture in my bag is Oh, then there's
Yeah.
that one? Oh, yeah, cause it's super big, alright, never mind. It's there. Oh, that is, okay, got it. Oh, this is kinda like before when you would be all the way up and down the street,
Yeah, the one difference is we're not closing off Second Avenue West. There's two options there, and I just did chat with Damari, who's the new manager perhaps at Harbor Inn, and kind of do some problem solving. But basically, what we said, we just need to block the end of Second Avenue West so there's not traffic coming onto Wisconsin Street. And she asked if there would be opportunity to leave some parking spots open, which are city parking spots on the west side of Second Avenue West, right next to their building, in order for patrons there to park. We're fine with that. We just need to kind of figure out the barrier option. The dilemma is that anyone who parks there is gonna do a 17-point turn to get back around
And then drive the wrong way on the one.
and drive the wrong way So I'm not sure, I guess that's maybe the biggest thing, is just the permission to barricade at the end, and then what you do about parking.
We've looked at this closure plan a million times for different festivals on the Second Avenue with the one-way traffic. And now with the improved alley and the block to the east, makes the most sense to me to just close it right after the alley. Driveways to Harbor Inn are open, and to the Heritage Post and to all the businesses on the block to the east, rather than mess with people going into a dead end on a one-way and having to figure out what to do next. So it's a couple of parking spaces, but it's for a good cause, so it's a limited amount of time.
Anyone else have any questions or? You're all set, Craig?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I think that's really it then. We're not, we don't know any more, right?
Is there just a Monday or?
Well, they never needed to ask you for permission when they were just using Wisconsin Street. This is, the only change here is that Second Avenue West will also be closed.
Mm.
If you're all shaking heads, that's fine with me.
Okay.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, next up, Cook County, the Sawtooth Bluff, HKGI, I feel like I'm an RA thing, what letters can you read? Contract, cost, share, and still. Okay.
All right, well, thank you for having us. This is my first time here before the city council, so I'm just pleased to be here and have an opportunity to meet everyone. I understand this issue has been brought to you before. Mitch and Neva Maxwell, our Director of Land Services, were here on February 25th with the same request that we have today. But I want to fill you in on a couple steps that we've taken since then. Let me find my notes here. So first of all, because this was discussed on February 25th, I will not get into all of the background of the bluff, but we're happy to answer any background questions that you may have. Following, or actually let me back up before the February meeting, and back in December in 2025, the Cook County Board authorized work to update the master plan. And then on February 25th of 2026, that's when Neva and Mitch brought the request to all of you, seeking your input and participation. No decision was made at that time. And then following that meeting, I had a discussion with Administrator Roth, and we talked about next steps. And given that discussion and some other discussions that I had with Cook County staff, I brought it back to the Cook County Board and asked for a specific request at that time. What are they asking the city council to participate in? Because when Neva and Mitch previously brought this to all of you, we were asking for your participation, asking for 50% of the cost for the plan, but not a direct request from the board on what was kind of their bottom line. So we brought it back to the board and they said we would really like that 50% match. So we're here today again just to ask for the 50% match. We did go back to HKGI and ask for an updated proposal because it had been some time. The updated proposal did come in $2,000 more than what it previously was, so now the ask is 26, what is it exactly? 20,
Good question.
26,540.
540, thank you. And so the ask did go up a little bit, given that the original proposal was done quite some time ago. So we're here to answer any questions, any concerns that you may have. I did listen to your past discussion, and I know there were some questions about the funding source that the county was looking at using for this. Happy to answer any questions about that as well. Just wanted to bring it back before you and have a discussion about what makes the most sense.
One of the pieces from that discussion from the council that stood out for me, and one of the reasons that we didn't do a vote that night, was council members, Mike was not at that meeting, and they wanted to have a conversation with him to understand part of how this fit within our budget, which I thought made sense to make sure everyone feels good about that. And that was one of the reasons I didn't ask for a final vote that night, so that everyone could make sure the questions were answered. So if that's still part of that, I think that's a piece that now you could talk to.
And I'd be happy to. So this is not an item that you discussed when you were putting together the 2026 budget. It was not included in this year's budget. You do set aside funds for council priorities that you could assign to this. It's certainly, you have adequate funds to do this if you decided it was a priority.
I think that was the question.
Yeah.
Alright, does anyone have any questions or comments right now?
Remind me the funding source that the county is using there for their half.
Sure, absolutely. So the funding source that we discussed was using PILT funds, which is our payment of lieu of taxes for the Boundary Waters. And I think the distinction that I think is important to make is that's just another line, that's a bucket of funds for us. It's another line item that we have to leverage within our budget. But we didn't previously assign funds from that for this project. So those funds, we could use those funds for other areas, other needs within the county. It's not set aside specifically for this project.
And the reason that you would want the city to partner on 50% is, I mean, we're also county
This is city,
taxpayers and, right, built as city taxpayer money too, right?
it is.
Well, because
But
it's in the city?
The reason that we wanna partner is we truly see this as a partnership as we move forward with the park. And we want it to be a joint venture and joint effort with the city. And so the board felt it appropriate to ask for a contribution towards the full amount.
We're a significant landowner on the property. It's in city limits in pretty much its entirety. Of the 600 some acres, the 240 of it that is most likely to be improved with things that we would ask for grant money to help with is the city-owned piece. That's the south and east part of the property. Closest to the Gunflint Trail.
Okay.
I'll just restate my thoughts that that hillside is important, we hear that all the time. And I think it's important for the county and the city to come up with a plan to do well by that and not have any more surprises. We end up with too many of them, whether it be here in the city or wherever we're not making positive steps forward to something. And I think the potential here has appeal to residents and visitors alike. I think there's plenty of residents who would benefit from, we don't know what the full design is, but some of the general concepts of it. And also preserves the two main views that we all treasure, the lake this way and the hillside the other way. So, that's my thought on that. Anyone else have questions? Anyone like to make a motion then in support of this request from the county to move forward this planning project?
I just have one more question.
Yes,
Mike,
of course.
actually. So Mike, when we look at this, I just wanna have an idea of numbers, like, so would this be a significant dip into the amount of funds that we actually have set aside, or what does this look like?
That's a pretty hard question to
I know, that's what
to
I'm
answer. I mean, I think going back to the council has had numerous chances to identify what their priorities are. This has always been a part of the conversation because it's always been something that we've had an opportunity to do, and it's not something the council has said is a top priority, which is why we didn't have a specific set aside for it. So, you know, we don't, there isn't anything that you've set aside for this. There's 26,000 that we can't do something else with. you can afford it if you wanna do it, if it's a priority now, then.
And I think to me, you know, the fact that it was not going to be a priority was in the sense that we would not be the one leading this. Or we would be
Yeah.
putting energy and staff time into moving a project like this forward. But we could be a partner to this. And that's why to me it was not a council priority, that's how I viewed it.
Well, what were the reasons why we never had it as a priority on our priority list? I mean, we discussed it quite a few times. I guess our concern is where, are we prepared to go where this is gonna go? You know, I mean, are we in that position?
We don't know yet, and this is a discovery option to know where it would go. But we don't know. And I don't think anyone's part of these projects, which you have brought up in the past, and very rightly so, is that you may get the initial funding to start a project like this, but the real issue is later on when it's up and running. And we talked a little bit about that, but it's the ongoing expense. But I think that's something we all need to be cognizant of.
Absolutely, this is just a planning phase. So there are no decisions beyond that at this point for the county, and we're not asking for the city to make any decisions beyond this point at this time. It's just for updating this master plan. And we would, part of the master plan is to create a joint powers committee, and we would want city council participation in that as well, appointees from the city council. So it would be definitely something that you would be engaged in. And again, this is just for the master plan.
And the master plan has a purpose, right? And the reason we're talking to HKGI is because we just did this with our own rec park. We just hired them, we just updated our master plan to gain regional significance and allow us to apply for legacy funds, which we just applied for and we're successful in getting. So I think we do have an intention. We know the path we're going down is that. So I think, Craig, if that's the question you're asking, are we prepared to try to get legacy funding for something at this park?
The projects always start out like this, right? Where you throw a little bit at it and you have somebody study it and then you go down the next road and it's like, well, yeah, we got some money available, but it's a match, right? What do you think? Should we just do it? We're already here. And that's the slope, right? That's what you're talking about, is are we going down that road? Are we wanting to prioritize this financially for the city because it will wind up costing beyond this more money? In my opinion, it always does.
That's kind of.
And we have joint powers agreements already that we have been trying to update for ever since I was. And we haven't succeeded on, I don't think any of them, to tell the truth. That's just a question, I mean, for adding, you know, I understand you have to have a joint powers agreement put together between us and the county before you can take this to the funding source. So that's something that's gonna have to be made up, right?
That's listed in this document.
I kind of think we need to have a longer conversation about this before we throw any more money at it. I've yet to run into anyone that broadly supports this idea. There's a lot of vagueness. It's just proposed.
In the sense
Yep.
in the sense of,
Well, we don't know what we're getting into. I mean, is it just a few hiking trails, or is it camping and?
that's the point of having this, is to figure out, to narrow that in, to make those kinds of decisions, to create that vision.
Mayor Benson, if I may, do you mind if I?
No, go ahead, I was just wondering what was stated.
Well,
Yeah, so phase 2 of the proposal is exactly what you're talking about. It would develop the concept for review. So, then they would develop the master plan document, and at that time, after that's completed, then we would have discussions about what are the next steps, if any, at that point.
And I just wanted to speak to, like, in this process, if and when we form a joint powers board, they would kind of be the entity to which user groups would be coming to us. I mean, certainly if there's infrastructure that is either county or city operated, like a campground or something like that, that might be something we need to match with. For building a bike trail, that might be the SCA. The SHT might be applying for building, campsites or more hiking trails. And so it's, all of that burden is not necessarily going to fall on city and county. Additionally, each piece of the process would have to go through a resolution with city and county. So entities come to joint powers board, they make a decision on if it fits with the plan. And then if yes, then resolution from city and county needs to happen still too. So there is still a break that we can pull if we aren't in agreement. So, I just felt like that was relevant.
I think two of those key points are items that were identified, I don't even know how many years ago now, when we did create a joint powers steering committee to create what I think is the framework of the most recent master plan as it exists today. One is that steering committee isn't going to have its own budget. It can't spend money that isn't continually authorized by the elected officials. And the other is that the plan is for user groups to come not only with how are they going to pay for the facilities that are going to get constructed, but how are they going to be maintained. And that's really the job of the steering committee then, is to decide, does this plan seem feasible, realistic? Do we want to do that? So it's completely understandable to think, yes, this will cost us money. I'm quite confident as well that this will cost the city money if we end up building a park. But the entire idea behind it was still to try and create something that's sustainably operated by user groups rather than by taxpayers. It's hard to say what exactly all those things are going to be. The master plan has a nice bubble diagram, and those uses were vetted through quite a few public processes. I mean, there definitely are lots of people that we could bring in here to say they do think it's a good idea if you wanted to test that out. But until we really know what are they going to build and how are they going to fund it and how are they going to maintain it, what's that plan, I don't think we can say what's going to be included.
Other questions?
Yeah, I do think this is the way we figure out what we have, what to do. I don't know that there's, it is money, but I feel like it would be well spent in this way to figure it out.
I think it's hard to quantify the risk of not doing it, right? It's easy to understand the cost of doing it, but what's the risk of not doing it is a little harder to quantify. But maybe that's the point, Tracy, you were trying to make, is that we want to have some kind of plan here for this property so that some surprise doesn't show up and end up being the plan for the property that we didn't have an opportunity to vet publicly.
I truly believe that. You can sit there and say, I don't want to do anything, but somebody's going to do something. Change will come. So you're part of it, you make it, or do you just end up being reactionary to something that maybe isn't what you want at all?
Give me an example of that, like
Well,
on the
nobody
city.
can-
Well, we
city
just
land.
had an offer for somebody to put a hotel and right away, like, there wasn't a lot of interest in that. Now, how
Where was that?
feasible that ever was,
Oh, you're
who
talking
really
about the
knows?
property on the top of the hill?
Up
the
farther
private-
up, you mean?
The private property.
And I don't wanna go into the weeds, but that's kind of the thing I mean, where instead of being the group that thinks, what do we want to see there, not see there, and create that, instead we're on the backside of it, reacting to someone else's ideas of what we think should be there.
Gotcha.
And there's always been a thought of some use, right? We ended up with a zip line that didn't go anywhere. Not probably the best idea. Talk about and whatever, I don't wanna go there. But that was a sales that should never have been sales pitch ever absorbed, personally is how I feel. But I think there is a lot of potential up there to keep that property still looking like it does and still have benefit for us. And financial benefit possibly, I do strongly feel that the people who live enjoy this kind of, a hiking trail. Look how many people already walk and bike just out to Fall Creek. And we heard anecdotally from some of the construction people that really isn't even use this. They do all the time. And all they had to do was go out to Tofty and see how many people walk that section of the trail and have for years or bike it all the time. I think local people do enjoy it. So some people said, oh, is this just going to be another tourist thing? And I would say no, not at all. I mean, it will be, but I mean, it's not just for that purpose. I think it would have benefit for that. And part of it is visioning it too. I mean, if there is something you feel is more important as a resident for the community members, then that's your chance to add that to the mix of what would be beneficial. And you don't find that out unless you have someone lead a project like this, to get those. We don't know what's sitting out there of the possibilities, of what people may say they think is important. I think even your campground update probably brought ideas and things you hadn't thought of.
Well, it's a little easier, because we built off of a master plan that was already done.
Sure, but
We basically renewed it to look at the park in a different light, what's good, what's bad, what can be changed. And then that brought in people and opinions and meetings to discuss that. But this is on a whole different virgin piece of property, so it's got a blank slate. And the one thing that I observe as I've been living in this community is we've had projects, I shouldn't say projects, we had feelers put out to get the opinions of people on what people's ideas are of the hillside, whether it's county land or city land. And a lot of the results from those have been basically to leave it alone. Nobody wants to see anything built up there. I know we just had a gentleman sell 4 lots of land off about a mile off the side of it. Basically, that was to stop him from developing it. So it's kind of interesting to sit here and try to figure out how to develop it, but yet, in my opinion, as just a resident of this town, I don't think you can get a lot of support to develop it. Maybe to cut a trail through it or something like that. But if that's what we're gonna do is build a trail, hiking trail, or another snowmobile trail, or another bike trail, or whatever, how much money do you have to spend to establish that minimum impact type of a activity? That's the thing that I'm questioning here. When you first started talking, Mitch, about this property, because I was at the meeting, I heard, we want anything up there, a campground, this and that, and I'm sitting there going, and then, I don't think that's gonna happen. Maybe it is, maybe it'll be part of HKGI's study, that the big campground would be great up there, I don't know. But as far as a city councilman, we can't devote any time and effort to that right now, and then going into the future, I don't think that that's our intention to expand or have another accessory campground that we have to operate and run, because it takes a lot of work, and we're having trouble with manpower right now, this summer with the one we have. Those are the issues that I'm plowing ahead a few years of where does this take us, where does this leave us, what conversations are we gonna have about it. I know HKGI is gonna have meetings with the public, and I can kinda already get the feel of what some of those meetings might be like all meetings we have, when we try to change and do something different. That's my concern about it. And when we start putting money into it, okay, this is the first ask. We know that more money comes later, we have to either shelf this thing as it was done by HKGI or move ahead with something else, which means more money. That's how it works. You know, and when we did our update down here, the city taxpayer pretty much paid for it all. Am I not mistaken? Yeah. And this is county asking city, more city dollars if county, city residents are paying county dollars. But I don't know, my feeling is I'm not too hyped up about it right now, and that's basically why it hasn't made our priority list in the last 4 years. So that's my opinion. I can't tell you anybody else how you feel, or how the people out here feel, or the people in the community feel, but we have quite a few things on our plate that we're plowing ahead to try to approve and fix and do those things right now with our dollars that we have to work with. So I don't know if that's my whole feeling about it. I mean, I know this is a beginning, because you wanna get those legacy dollars, which we had to do for the city. You have to spend money to get that. I understand that. But anyway, that's just how I feel about it.
You started by asking the question why this isn't a council priority, and I think you answered it at the end, saying we have a lot of things that we need to accomplish right now.
That's right.
To me, that's the reason why you haven't made it a priority.
It's not that
There's
we
other
never
things
discussed it, but
were on the
it
list.
just, you know, you have so many things you can try to accomplish in a year, and this one always fell off the plate.
And I think what I said earlier too, the one other reason was exactly what you just had a concern about, and we all agreed. This will not be something we will be a leader on, nor will we be actively involved. It's not gonna be campground number 2 for the city. I think we're all in agreement for a lot of what you just said, Craig.
Yeah, but if we own 240 acres of it,
It doesn't mean that's what's gonna be what happens to it, but I think we all agreed, because there was a concern that somehow we were gonna say, oh, Dave Tierstig's already a campground, person, and he'll be the one leading this, and we all are very clear that that's not what's gonna happen. He has a full-time job, that's not where this will go.
how do you know that?
And I think that's still what we're saying with this, and I agree with you, the reason we said it wouldn't be a priority is simply because we wouldn't be actively the one leading the charge. But I think we can be at the table and spend this money to do the exploratory to find out what this could go. In the larger thing of what this could be, this isn't that much money to finally find out for sure kind of what you're worried about, what does the community say. I'd like to know that too, finally.
And I would agree with that piece at least, and it is spending money now, but to really let people, the community chime in, and then we know. What do they want, or do they want nothing? And that would be a good thing to know.
And
So
one of
that-
the questions
that
I asked at that last meeting
we
was, is this
encourage it.
truly a question thing, or are we just like rubber stamping again your last plan? And if it wasn't truly full of community, give us opinions, a fresh start to look at it, then I didn't think it was a good idea either, but you answered that question for me. This was really going to be another chance for everyone to contribute and re-envision.
And Mayor Benson, that's also something that's been very important to our commissioners, is to make sure that there is that public engagement piece as we move forward.
Yeah, because I wouldn't want to just say, oh yeah, we're going to do whatever and just follow the last one as it was. I don't think that's a good idea.
And that was, I don't remember what year that was, but that was a while ago.
2018.
There's been a recurring, occasionally significant public conversation about this at least since 2001. So, you say, you know what those meetings are like. You do, because we've held them and people have come in. And we still need to continue that process before this becomes a plan you'd be willing to move forward. I don't think that part is done. But there are themes that have come through that entire conversation that harken back to what you talked about earlier too, Craig, that we don't wanna see something developed there. And I think that the park was an idea that prevents things that we don't wanna see developed there as much as it was an idea to build things that we wanna have there.
And we have devoted a lot of county staff time to this project over the years, and we're really at a point where we need to know if we're moving forward. Because we have county priorities as well in different ways that we could be leveraging that staff time. Where it seems like we're spending a lot of time having discussions about, do we move this forward? So I'm really hoping that we can come to a resolution.
Well, I know you've spent time on it, but what kind of baffles me is, when did you do that last feeling of the public's opinion? And you came and you assessed that opinion and provided it to us. And now here we are talking about moving this whole thing ahead when we already kind of had a glimpse of what the public opinion was. So I'm baffled by that, why you would turn around and spend more money chasing this rabbit down the rabbit hole when you got a taste of it.
But, I mean, so, Craig, I mean, respectfully, we looked at the same data. I came to the council and I showed you what I think we did this in February of 2025. I put out some feelers to kind of see if the public still had an appetite for it. In the data that I received, a significant portion of the public wanted to see it proceed. So yes, there are naysayers, certainly there are, but in looking at the numbers, I see a majority of the people that wanted to proceed. So this is why I'm here, like, you
That's
know.
interesting, because that's not what. I said at a meeting, I'll have to look that up, I'll look that up. The other thing I wanna talk about is PILT money. We don't have PILT money. If we did, maybe it'd be easier to throw money at this. You know, we funded our whole thing down here for the city with our city dollars. I don't know, I just, at this time, I don't know how I feel about it, but that's, you know.
Well, that's
You
important,
feel,
Craig.
I think you feel more strongly to move ahead with this, I think the county might feel more strongly to move ahead with this than the city, I'm not talking for everybody, but that's my feeling. Otherwise, we'd be approaching you and, you know.
To speak to that, Craig, I mean, we have our comprehensive trails plan that we did back in 2016. In that comprehensive trails plan, this is the Sawtooth Bluffs was specifically called out as a priority in that. So it's not a personal crusade, it's something that we spelled out in that process that this is a priority. And so and two, I mean, yes, we at our Parks and Trails Commission meetings, we discuss it often. It is something that we all agree would, you know, kind of like to see proceed. And so, you know, in this process, you know, in polling the public and seeing how they felt about it, going to the county board, seeing if that's you know, if we can proceed with this planning process, you know, so. And then additionally, having me in this position, you know, it was something that, in an effort to be collaborative with the city.
And I appreciate you saying all these things, Craig, that's, you know, why we're all here on the council, so it all matters. That's what you're supposed to do, so we can think it all through and make sure what's considered, so I appreciate that. Anyone else have questions or thoughts right now?
I don't see any urgency to make a decision tonight.
Is there something else you'd like to consider to this? That, I mean, makes you, questions you still have about this part of it?
Well, I'm not so sure that it's supported, like Frank was saying, in the community. I don't know that people really want a destination park.
That's not, I mean, the point of this is to find out what we could or would do with it, and that means getting public opinion. I think that's really the bigger point of this, is to tie that all together finally.
And that would be one of the questions as well, with, working with the community, is asking, is this something that you wanna see in the community? And if so, what would you like to see at that location? So that question and trying to gather that data so that the city and the county can make a database decision about what to do with that land is this process.
As well too, in pulling people into the steering committee, in my proposal, I requested folks from, the school district, the historical society was an idea, involving community members in creating something that the community wants. It is not, this isn't gonna be driven by folks outside of Cook County. This is gonna be driven by a steering committee, selected by city and county to represent our values. And nothing is set in stone about what it's going to be. I mean, certainly we have that plan from 2018 about that the city and the county both agreed on at that point, through a public process, as Mike said, it was agreed upon then. Now it's just an update of this. And with a very public facing process and engaging everybody as much as possible. So that's where we don't have to be locked in on exactly what it looks like. We, hopefully by the end of this, we do. And and at that point, all that we have is a plan that we could submit to the Greater Minnesota Regional Parks and Trails Commission for regional designation.
And I mean, I know that we've, gauged the community before. But I think it is important now, because things have changed, to engage with them again and see where we're at. See what they would like to do. We really don't know where they're at. I mean, we've had that one survey that you must have
Yeah,
done.
that was just,
don't remember it right
yeah,
now. But
well, that was something we did internally, yep.
yeah, and so that's something, but that's not really telling us what the community is interested in, what they would like to have happen up there. And, it is money we can't afford right now. And so I think that's, we should take that into account. If we can spend the money to figure out, is this gonna be the thing that we're gonna actually go forward with? Because we don't know. I mean, maybe the community is not us, and they do really want something up there, and they do want something a little different than we can imagine as just us five.
I have heard anecdotally from other groups in the community some ideas they do have. But, so there is interest in things being done up there and not just from individuals. So, that's what would require, larger groups to kind of know where that would land.
Who's here is, when HKGI jumps into this and starts looking at, other than public comment and public meetings we have with them. With the rec park, we had a plan already there, we had a map, we have basically a facility built. And we gave them ideas of what we wanted to do. And things that we had to do actually, so we could be eligible for those monies that we went after to get for the bathhouse and certain things that we did down there. But when HPGI looks at a piece of property like this, who sets the tone, or who, they're gonna be referring to the 2016 Trails Plan? Or do they have an open slate to propose or offer or discuss all kinds of things that could be put on that property? Or are you gonna pretty much throw all the spaghetti on the wall and let the public kind of say, well, we like that, but we don't like that. We like that, but we don't like that, because that's how these meetings work, that. gonna be a lot of ideas, and some of them are gonna be great for some interest, and not so great for other interests. And someone's gotta mediate and drill down and actually come up with a plan, and that's gonna be HKGI.
Yeah.
You know,
And it's going to be a steering committee that works with HKGI, that's made up of local officials. So that's the proposal from the county as well. That you'd have 2 city councilors and a member of the Grand Marais Park Board as a part of a steering committee that's working with HKGI to make sure that that project is guided the way we wanna see it happen.
And part of that work starts at the very beginning of the project, phase 1, the kickoff meeting. Those discussions will take place, what's in scope, what's not in scope. And a lot of that discussion will happen with the steering committee to advise that kickoff meeting.
And I think it would be an important role of whomever, if you appoint someone to that board, that they are a liaison with the council and make sure that they're communicating back and forth what our boundaries are about what we want to see happen.
And that's why we hire these companies opposed to trying to do this ourselves. And it's my understanding this particular company must focus in this arena as opposed to others. So there's a skill set behind that, and they're all supposed to help with funding.
And to your point about the spaghetti and throwing at the wall to see what will stick, part of this is also what's not a viable option. We might have some user groups that wanna see certain things up there that because of the land, it's not a viable option for some reason, and we need an expert to be able to tell us whether it is or isn't as we move forward as well. So that would be part of the proposal too.
Any other questions? All right, with that, would anyone like to make a motion to approve the contribution amount for this project for the Sawtooth Club HKGI contract cost share?
I would make that motion.
Second for that? Okay, I will second that. Any further comments or questions? All right. All in favor of approving dollars for the Sawtooth Club contract cost share? Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you.
And as for the opposed?
Opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Thank you.
All right. Let's do this. We have nothing.
So there was a pivot, we had an additional agenda item that is delayed because we needed to get us more information. I'll give you a quick preview on and explain why Northwest isn't here.
Okay.
Northwest, of course, was told many years ago now that they don't have to come and present to you, they can just give their annual report in writing. And Greg was planning on attending because the additional agenda item was we were gonna talk about some different treatments we wanted to do to the Fifth Avenue intersection to try and deal with pedestrian safety issues. And I'm still gathering information with MnDOT on that, so it's not on the agenda, hence he is not here, hence your report is in writing, included in your packet. We also have some materials we're gonna hand out to you in your box, and the agenda is henceforth shortened.
Great.
Oh, all right. That moves us, sorry, next Greg. Administrator report.
At your last meeting, you talked about boulevard maintenance. I emailed the form today to you that we've sent out to folks along the property, the affected properties on Highway 61. That was mailed, emailed, or hand delivered, depending upon what availability we had to get to folks. We asked them some specific questions about how they're currently maintaining the boulevards and also just for general feedback. So we've already started receiving that feedback. Hopefully at your next meeting, we'll be able to report on that and have that conversation again. League of Minnesota Cities Conference next week. I know the mayor's planning on attending. I was planning on attending, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to make work, so you'll just have to put up with me in the office for those 3 or 4 days of the week. Many conversations are occurring right now at the Utilities Commission about Leach It. There's been a few more meetings back and forth with Grand Portage, with the MPCA. The PUC itself had a good conversation about it at their last meeting. They asked for a mid-month update meeting on that. That's scheduled for next Monday at 3 o'clock. So we'll be looking at where we're at updated on that. The next steps are that they've asked us to prepare significant industrial user agreements for both of the companies that we had been accepting leachate for, and to include in those agreements a more robust testing plan and a way to pay for it. So I'll be meeting with our city attorneys tomorrow to work on that process, and like I said, next Monday the meeting is occurring where we have a chance to update that and have the Utilities Commission continue the conversation. And a quick plug for the Utilities Commission while they're on the topic, we have an open seat when we need somebody. And so for a reminder, the folks that are qualified to serve on the Utilities Commission are those folks that are customers that reside in the area of the Utilities Commission service territory. So that's not just the city limits, we also serve east and west along the shore, a few miles in both directions. If there's anybody out there who thinks they can be of service to help us with the wastewater treatment plant project, to help us sort through questions about accepting leachate or not, to help us plan for our electric utility system, there's 2 guys doing this work right now. We've got a 3rd seat open, and they could sure use your assistance. So please look us up.
Yeah, I think that commission, it's only 3 people, and so you're only down to 2. I don't think that's, we should be able to put one more person on the board. Should be at least 30. Anything else? Contracts? Do you have any update on one of the things Craig brought up?
Oh, well, I mean, I don't want to overpromise here, because it'd be kind of silly to say we're about done with one of those contracts. But I think we're very close to being done with the law enforcement agreement. We were very close to being done with it some time ago as well. So, like I said, I don't want to overpromise, but we've met recently, the attorney, sheriff's office, administrators, our attorney, to go over the terms that had been agreed by the steering committee that was working on it and looking at draft contracts. I think there's 1 or 2 more issues that need to get talked about a little bit more. But I don't think any of it's deal breaker stuff. So should be a draft that's coming to you. I don't want to say when. It's been too many years. I just want to celebrate the win when it happens.
Close is gonna count this time.
What's next on that?
To be determined. What originally was next was to talk about street maintenance.
Yep.
I think we made a temporary adjustment to that. So I wouldn't say we haven't gotten anything done, because we did that.
That's right.
And that's been in place for a little while now. Whether it still makes sense to have that be the next agreement, or whether there's a couple of other items that we might decide are more important, remains to be seen. Maybe that could be a upcoming work session as we go back to that list and look at it.
on the scale for that one, because it seemed like, we did some work on that, and it just seems like if we're. Like now we have enough data, like we had that one dry winter that we didn't really have enough data to run with to see what we're gonna do with the streets.
Yeah,
For the snow removal, yeah.
that's the biggest question mark on it, but lots of other things included in it. Okay, so noted.
And on the short stay, where now that they've reshifted and have their new director in place and all that.
Yeah.
And there's this, was that an additional or just replacement attorney? They have another attorney in place too to help Jean move some of this along too. But did she get one additional one too?
Not sure.
Okay, I wasn't clear either. It was just,
Don't forget about what we call the community center agreement, but which is actually our contribution to the operations of the Y. That was one of the 3 that was originally on the list.
so it's, now that they have a city administrator again, they've got their attorney staff back up and they repositioned for the is that land services? What is that department called?
Mhm.
That's in place, so now there's opportunity for things to start engaging again, I think, and we're working on that.
Well, that was my report, but actually Kim's reminded me that we have one additional hire that we wanna add to at the golf course. Please hire Mariana de la Osa Mujica as a golf course employee this summer.
Motion to approve?
Second?
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
No library or anything? No? Okay.
We got, Arrowhead Animal tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't have anything, we're planning zoning later, was it next Wednesday?
Next week.
And Commercial Management Board, following Monday. The next meeting, probably be looking at some of that stuff from Commercial Management Board, so. Yeah. Nothing.
I don't have anything, we had a PUC meeting, a park board meeting prior to that last city council meeting. We'll have another PUC meeting next Monday. So I'll update you on that at the next council meeting.
So yeah, you just mentioned that you did have the one MPCA Grand Portage City meeting, I thought that went very well. And there were some to-dos, should be acknowledged, so I think that went well, learned a little bit more about how the MPCA works. And learned some things about Minnesota Power's holding pond that was very positive, future of that and their actions on that, so that was very good, and that's a good meeting. And then, like you said, the technical people met again today and made some progress, so that's good. We had the Taconite Harbor Project open house on Monday down in Schroeder. They ended up with about 50 people coming through to review everything and respond, so they were very pleased with that. And I went down there for that. I really wanted to thank some of the advisory committee members, and there were just a few there, but that was nice to do. They've been very complimentary about that advisory committee, their participation, and just how they operate as a group. That went very well. And then at our EDA meeting yesterday, they gave their formal presentation to the committee members. Were part of that piece of it. It was nice. Carla Villa, who heads DEED, for whom we got that grant from, came up here for the meeting, so that was nice. And we had a few people from out in the West End sitting in the audience for that meeting yesterday too, so that was good. I'm trying to think if there was anything. Oh, Minnesota Power came. 2 people from Minnesota Power came and kind of reiterated that they still want to be a partner with us, and if there is something that works for them and works for us, they're all ears on that, and admitted they've looked at a lot of things themselves, but they're clearly still at the table. Cleveland Cliffs is not a course. Minnesota Power is continuing to remediate the site to industrial standards, so they're still doing their part at, this. So obviously it depends on where you want to take a property, what it has to be remediated at, but that's where they're at. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that, out of that, light industrial park concepts, people really wanted to capitalize better on the marina, including boat repair, boat sales, anything boat related. There was some thoughts around that, just because the marina is such a great asset. Of course, people always get concerned about housing, especially if anything big did come in, where would you house people? Then there was mixed use concepts that would have some tourism, but also with the thought in mind of retail, food, hotel, which is all tourism, still incorporating marina, event center, that kind of piece, some housing. And once again, making sure there's public access to the shoreline. Just a more balanced development, so that's just a high level on that. Also at the EDA meeting, we talked about the golf course schedule now for closing around August, if all proceeds okay. We approved some grants and approved our budget for the year. And then as Mike just said, I'll go to the LMC conference next week. That's it.
So it's just in the cities, where is it?
This year it's in Rochester, they always go back and forth, Duluth, Rochester. Do it that way, so. Yeah, we'll head down there, yeah, meet and chat and. There we are, thanks everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
See you, Gavin.